Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, freshly out of the shower. Yeah, I come to you today with the AA word of the day for January 9th, 2025. And the word for today is an act of providence. It is truly awful to admit, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. And that is from 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 21. My act of providence, a manifestation of divine care and direction, came as I experienced the total bankruptcy of active alcoholism. Everything meaningful in my life was gone. I telephoned Alcoholics Anonymous, and from that instant, my life has never been the same. When I reflect on that very special moment, I know that God was working in my life long before I was able to acknowledge and accept spiritual concepts. The glass was put down through this one act of providence, and my journey into sobriety began. My life continues to unfold with divine care and direction. Step one, in which I admitted I was powerless over alcohol and my life had become unmanageable, takes on more meaning for me, one day at a time, in the life saving, life giving fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. How very true for me. And I went and I looked up this word bankruptcy. There are several different meanings of bankruptcy. One is the legal definition. You know, that's the first one that popped up. And then I looked up spiritual bankruptcy, and here's what the dictionary said about that: a state where someone feels deeply disconnected from their higher purpose, often often described as a lack of meaning or emptiness in their life. And that was certainly me. There was an emptiness in me. I heard one lady speak, and she said it was a hole in her heart that she just couldn't fill with alcohol. You know, the more she drank, the emptier it became. And this is perfect. Emptiness in my life. My life was empty. You know, I had a good job. I did the job. Uh, I had a nice house. I had good relationships. But there was an emptiness. Never at one point in my life did I believe that there was no God. But I thought my purpose on here was to get things done on my own and not bother them. You know, I keep saying what the nuns told me: God helps those who help themselves. So I was trying to help myself, dig myself out of the hole of alcoholism. And it just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper as the day went by. And I look at these quotes are so apropos for me. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. Now, reading that in the old days, I'd say, oh, that's hyperbole. It's not that bad. But it was. It was that bad. You know, I used to make graphs of everything I did, all the time I spent on things. I didn't put down the time that I spent drinking or drinking while I was doing things, but I did have a lot of accomplishments. And that's what I wrote down. and I didn't write down the 2 or 3 cases of Miller Lite beer that I drank while I did the things. And so this isn't hyperbole. This isn't for effect. This is exactly what I did. All I wanted to do was drink as much as I could, pass out or black out, and then get up and do it all over again, just like the myth of Sisyphus, rolling the rock up to the top of the hill, and then it rolled down, and the next day you get up and roll it up. And that was me. And it took an act of divine providence. Now, funny, I was born in Providence, raised in Providence, lived in Providence till I was 36, and drank in Providence. The, the section I was in was the poorest one in Providence. And you can always tell that by the number of bars in a place. People go and, they're working in factories, they're doing jewelry, piecework jewelry, they're not making much money. The housing stock is not that great to live in. Believe me, I lived there. I lived in it. And yeah, you just having a lot of bars, people make money off the misery of other people. And it just was something natural. Just going to your neighborhood bar. On my street, I had one, two, three, 4 bars on a little tiny street, maybe about a quarter of a mile long. And there were bars all over. There must have been about 40 bars in a square mile for me, all with pool tables, all with. Uh, I love beer coming from the tap in a frosted mug during the summertime. I really loved that. I didn't care what the beer was; didn't make any difference as long as it was tap beer, and it was at a bar where the bar that I eventually went to it was called Roy's Tap. He knew how to keep people in there. He had free food, very salty food, so you'd get thirsty. You'd have hot dogs in the afternoon or sausage and peppers, and you could just go and get one. And on holidays, he would have a pig roasted, put a board over the pool table, and he invited certain people that went to the bar all the time to go there. And he gave you gifts at Christmas time. He was a bookie for the mob, and that's where he made most of his money. I don't think he made it from running the bar, but I remember back then a frosted mug of beer, a 16-ounce frosted mug of beer was a quarter. So that shows you how old I am. So my whole life was invested in those kind of places. I could walk home, get out of the get out of his bar, and hit 3 more before I even turned down my street where there were 4. And on a hot day, I'd say, "Oh, it's too hot to walk all the way home. I'll just stop in here for one beer." And of course, I had a couple, and then I'd have a couple at the next, and a couple at the next, and then before you know it, I already had 10 frosted mugs of beer. And so I truly believe this isn't hyperbole. I believe I was spiritually bankrupt, and only admitting powerlessness was I able to unwarp my mind over the obsession to drink. And I don't obsess about it now. I don't. I'm not one of those that, oh, I wish I could taste that, or I don't. And I'll tell people right out, I can't drink anymore. I tell them I drank enough for you and for your whole family, and now I've stopped. And I've connected with God again. We have a very good relationship. And I think I'm growing as a man, a sober man. I'm no longer an employee, but My whole nursing career was as a sober man. Never drank, never, not one time. Never drank while I was in college for nursing. So we reap the benefits. We reap the benefits of saying that we are powerless, and we gain the great power of God. So I'm going to cut it short there. It's not too short. It's about 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes. God bless you all. Have a good day and a sober day. See you tomorrow.